Where did she fall from? Her body's smashed to talk. It's a wonder she's still breathing.
All I saw was the corona, not her origin point. But look, she's healing already. Spontaneous regeneration.
Who are you? Dominant tides have shifted. If you don't remember who I am, you're more self-centered than I imagined. Silver tide raised a tiny amount. I don't know what that means. You know she is not a changing god, Alligern. It's her face. I've never seen any other people rebuild themselves like that. Only the changing god could have healed so quickly. He sighs and rubs his face, trying to regain his composure. Maybe you could help me for a change. You know what this means to me. You're familiar with the world changing, Alligern. It implies inconstancy. Thus, the changing god may well have changed. Several versions of her shrug, and she addresses you. You'll have to forgive him. He believes you are someone he once knew, even though it's painfully obvious that anyone that you are nearly born. Her most solid self curtsies while her others bow or spin. I and my sisters am Callestege. This is Alligern. We are explorers, knowledge seekers. That's how we came to be in this room. If I'm not mistaken, you are what we call a cast-off. The changing god created you, body and mind. Your sire used your body for a time, then abandoned it for reasons of his own. When his mind departed for a new experience, you were born in his cast-off shell. Who is the changing god? Ha! That's something coming from you. She gives him a sidelong glance. The changing god is your sire, dear. He discovered the path to immortality long ago. A means to transfer his self to a new body of his own creation. I don't think he knew, however, that when he abandoned one body, another mind was birthed to fill the void. Oh, he knew all right. his eyes. He eyes you up and down coldly. The only thing the changing god cares about is himself. He doesn't give a single thought for those he leaves behind. If you know the changing god through my body, why do you keep referring to me, to my sire, as he? We know your creator through legend and research. He has taken the form of men, women, visitants and other things. His form is fluid, as his name suggests, but the stories about the changing god always refer to him. It's easier, Alligern shrugs. You are a woman, the changing god is himself. Where are we? What is this place? A sanctum of your sires. The common belief is that he has several such places throughout the ninth world, possibly other worlds as well. We were only just able to gain entry to this one because of your grand entrance. Are there other castles? Dozens, hundreds, who can say? Your sire has been doing this for several centuries. Though, if all of them were born the way you claim to have been, it's wonder any of them survived. So you say I was born when the changing god left, but why am I not dead? I used a siphon to slow your fall further, but the damage still would have killed an ordinary person. But think about it. If you're the kind of person who can make your body into anything you want, what do? If you've constructed bodies for centuries, you want to make each one better than the last. You want to live forever. You're not going to let your life end by accident. No. You'll make strong bodies, fast, powerful, maybe throw in regeneration while you're at it. The changing god has always been vain. He rarely stays long in a shell that doesn't suit his self-image. She looked you up and down, her smile suddenly unnerving. Perhaps the changing god fled because he didn't want to wear those scars of yours. If the changing god abandoned my body, where is he now? If he abandoned your body, then his consciousness fled to another. He eyes you keenly. Oh, do stop. The look she gives Alligern is equally piercing, amplified by the withering glares of her sisters. If there's one thing we know about the changing god, dear, is that he always has a contingency. This child was born here. The object of your obsession will have been reborn somewhere else. What was the blast of energy when I woke? As I was telling my colleague, it was obviously a physiological reaction of some kind. I've never witnessed the birth of Callestege, but yes, it could very well have been caused by your nascent consciousness. Don't worry, I don't believe it caused any real harm, not to me at least. Really, you've been more abrasive than ever since we came in here. He shoots her a sidelong look. We just can't empathize with other people unless she is experimenting on them. What are the changing gods' bodies like again? Oh, I already asked that. Do you know anything about the tides? I've heard the term before, a subject your sire studied in great depth. I'm afraid it isn't my field of inquiry. Are you sure that search didn't hurt you? If it did, it was damage in our minds, though how did you check if it canked her? I couldn't say, though. Tough to find normalcy there. At least we know it didn't hurt Alligern. That skull is thick as organic stone. I want to ask about something else. Before I woke, I was in some kind of dreamlike labyrinth with a glowing spectre. With how hard you hit the ground, I'm surprised that's all you saw. You've fallen from the sky. Didn't kill me. Is there anything that can? An excellent question. Having seen your regenerative abilities in action, I suspect there are primarily physical, a regrowth. That if that's the case, you would be unable to survive most varieties of psychic, of molecular decomposition, disintegration, conflagration, and so forth. Regenerative diseases could pose a problem, and I know of several entities capable of psychic destruction. As she speaks, a vision flashes into your mind. It's not yours, exactly. Somehow you know this is a memory of the changing gods. You are in a dark room, lit by a myriad of blinking lights and holograms from the many machines surrounding you. What about a body that can withstand the sorrow's attacks? Says a voice. It seemed to be coming from one of the machines. No, you replied. The thing has no respect for barriers of any kind. Physical, temporal, physic. This is the only way. With a series of gestures, you bring up an image of a crystalline pod. If the resonance chamber works, it will give us the power to stop the Sorrow's hunt once and for all. We just need the right focal point, a catalyst. Focal? Focal, yeah. The memory fades. Callestege is still talking. You realize that the device you saw in the memory is identical to the one behind you now. It looks just like the spectre had described it, a transparent sarcophagus inside a crystalline dome, with mechanical arms arrayed around it on a metal ring. Unfortunately, the dome is shattered, the sarcophagus is cracked, and one of the arms is in pieces on the floor. Whatever its function, it clearly needs repair. Or flesh-eating viruses, or one presumes disfigurement by the iron wind would likewise be devastating enough to